Again, let me note that not all sins are errors. Some are production decisions and questions of judgment, like,
He tasks me, and I shall have him.
Now I can see why that copy of Moby Dick was haphazardly tossed on the top of all that divine comedy we saw earlier, so that Khan could completely ignore the message of that book. Geez, Spock, Uhura, Bones, and Sulu? Could the movie be trying any harder to make me think this isn't a Starfleet Academy test? Also, are we really to believe these three super senior officers are spending their time play acting as junior bridge officers for the sake of college students?
well, I can't blame you. It's a common misconception that the Enterprise was just used to train officers for the Academy, and that the Enterprise was just a training vessel. What is often missed by fans is that they were specifically training a new crew for the Enterprise.
Wouldn't it be easier to just put an experienced crew back on the ship?
Galloping around the cosmos is a game for the young, Doctor.
Spock will be the captain, and the rest of the crew will still be on the Enterprise.
We are continuing our search for a lifeless planet to satisfy the requirement of a test site for the Genesis experiment. So far, no success.
The universe of this movie suggests it's really hard to find planets with no life.
It is hard to find planets within the habitable zone of a star with absolutely no life, not even a microbe, as Carol specified.
You boys have to be clear on this. There can't be so much as a microbe or the show's off.
Yeah, we're definitely positive this place has oxygen, so let's remove our helmets instantly. Science!
Scans would give them enough information to know what to expect on the surface. The helmets are just there for the earwig to protect them from the sand outside.
Okay, fine. Maybe they briefed you on the existence of this guy Khan. But you weren't in the episode of Space Seed of which this movie is a continuation. You weren't even in that season. And then this asshole Khan pretends like he knows you. I'm not buying it, Chekov.
I already did a full episode explaining how they met, but the short and sweet version is the fact that just because Chekov was absent from the episode does not mean he was not aboard the ship at the time. There are 430 crew members. We don't see them all. Links to that video in the description. It explains what Chekov was likely doing and how they likely met.
Take her out, Mr. Savick.
In the future, we will be calling women misters, despite Star Trek being one of the most socially inclusive properties of all time. I mean, why not just refer to her rank and no?
Captain Pike's female first officer was called Sir.
Yeoman, you've delivered your report.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
And Spock was often called Mr. instead of his rank of commander. It would appear to be a 23rd century term often used for first officers. This might suggest that Savick was supposed to be Spock's first officer.
Well, I've got sickbay ready. Now, will someone please tell me what's going on?
If you don't know what's going on, then what do you have sickbay ready for exactly?
Because he was ordered to get sickbay ready.
Have we pointed out how amazingly crazy-ass lucky Khan is yet? Chekov just happens to land on his exile planet thinking it was a completely different planet, on a mission involving Project Genesis, something that can both create and destroy all life on a planet, an invention perfect for megalomaniacs. He wants revenge on Kirk, who also just happens to be tagging along on a training mission when everything goes down, and he comes to the scene gift-wrapped for a revenge plot.
You really should stop skipping scenes in this movie. In this movie, that's sort of a sin in itself, but Khan did engineer it so Kirk specifically would come out here. Here, let me give you a clip show. Step 1, tell Dr. Marcus that they were ordered by Kirk to pick up the Genesis device.
They're en route to you and should be there in 3 days.
En route? Why?
We have received new orders. Upon our arrival at Regula 1, all materials of Project Genesis will be transferred to this ship.
Commander Chekov, this is completely irregular.
I have my orders.
Who gave the order?
The order comes from Admiral James T. Kirk. You realize, sir, they will attempt to contact Admiral Kirk and confirm the order.
Step 2, Carol contacts Kirk to ask about the order, but the transmission is partially jammed to increase confusion.
Well, what's wrong? What's the matter?
Why are you taking Genesis away from us?
Taking Genesis? Who's taking Genesis? Who is taking Genesis?
I can see you, but I can't hear.
Carol?
Jim, did you give the order?
What order? Who's taking Genesis?
Who's taking... On whose authority can I do this?
No one's authority. Uhura, what's happening?
Transmission jammed at the source, sir.
Alert Starfleet headquarters.
Aye, sir.
I want to talk to Starfleet Command.
Step 3, Kirk finds a way, anyway, to Regula 1.
We have a problem. Something may be wrong on Regula 1. We've been ordered to investigate. Just get me to regular one.
You hand over to me all data and material regarding the project called Genesis.
Why does he need that from Kirk? Doesn't the Reliant have the same information the Enterprise does? Surely before he left he tried to get as much info from Chekov and Tyrell that he could, right? This is some bullshit just so Kirk can buy the time necessary to escape.
It is uncertain that the Enterprise would have had any more information, but since Kirk is an admiral, apparently with access to classified Genesis files, it's worth a try. The Reliant was just assigned to assist. They weren't granted any special access.
Lock phasers on target and await my command.
Phasers locked.
Awesome, but a minute ago when Reliant locked phasers on you prior to firing, you could tell.
Lock phasers on target.
Locking phasers on target.
They're locking phasers.
So what gives, yo?
He is intelligent, but not experienced. Could be he didn't even know to look.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Mind control slugs apparently leave enough of the original brain behind to allow for apologies like this, I guess.
They don't destroy the mind, they just make one more susceptible to suggestion.
You see, they're young, enter through the ears, and wrap themselves around the cerebral cortex. This has the effect of rendering the victim extremely susceptible to suggestion.
You son of a bitch!
Well, as long as the character's unimportant, I'm okay with this accidental evaporation.
Kill Admiral Kirk.
And the absolutely totally mind-controlled guys suddenly have a hard time following orders. Starfleet captain who was mind-controlled to this point somehow overcomes his mind control, which sounds awesome until I tell you he only overcame it long enough to commit suicide.
And here is where I blow your mind with an insight into the minds of Tyrell and Chekov. As Khan said, they are open to suggestion, but their minds are intact. Chekov is torn between the suggestion that he's now open to and his loyalty to his former captain. Tyrell, on the other hand, is bound by the fact that he is a good person who just killed someone. The struggle led him to a point where he is being asked to kill another person, and he just could not live with himself. That is why he is dead and Chekov is alive.
Do these grates all need to be lifted up before a torpedo can fire? Because if so, that's f***ing stupid. And why is the torpedo loading bay super huge and open to human beings? Shouldn't this be a contained unit on either side of the... this is the dumbest torpedo protocol ever. Also, if torpedoes take this long to load and launch, the Federation is f***ing doomed, man. Jesus Christ, do they do all this bullshit every time they launch a torpedo? Because haven't I seen Kirk order someone to fire their torpedoes, plural, before? Imagine all these below-deck performers having to do all this double time.
It is all about planning ahead. If you're going into battle, you call a red alert. If you are leaving Earth to meet with a hostile cloud, you get ready. There's also no saying you can only load one at a time.
I've got to take the mains off the line.
I have no idea what any of this means. The power this ship uses and runs out of is completely random whatever nonsense to make the movie more dramatic.
Mains as in the main power system, you know, the biggest supply of power for your systems, like warp drive.
How is everybody dead on the bridge except Khan? Yeah, he's got superior physical ability, but not against, explosions, right?
Just lucky not to be hit hard by the explosion, I guess.
Spock!
This is a room you get killed for going in. You go in here like when you're a technician at a starbase and the ship is in for an overhaul and the radioactive engine has been shut down for a while. But sure, let's put an intercom in there, just in case we ever need that.
This room is full of radiation due to the nature of the damage the ship took, not just because the engines are running.